What is up? Welcome in to yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Benstant reaction of the Celtics Pacers Game 1 coming down to the wire, going into overtime. The Indiana Pacers choking away a manageable lead. Should have won this game, did not. Jaylen Brown, big time baskets in the biggest moments. Before we get to any of that, however you listen, however you watch the show, however you consume the Ben Garcia Show, thank you so much for making us a part of your day, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts for free, on the iHeartRadio app, or you are putting a face to the voice and you are watching on YouTube. We appreciate that as well. Consider subscribing. Closing in on 1,100 subscribers if we aren't already past it. Haven't been keeping a huge tab on it ever since we passed 1,000. That was kind of the big milestone there. And then it's trucking all the way up to 1 million, because that's just what you do. Go straight from 1,000 to 1 million, just like that. Let's get right into this game. So there's two storylines to this game. So let's start it from the Pacers angle. The Indiana Pacers, if they wanted to win this series, had to steal Game 1. Myself, along with many others, all picked the Celtics to win this series. I said I'd take the Celtics in 6 simply because I'm not as much of a believer in the Boston Celtics as everyone else. Not because I don't think that they can make it to the finals, but just that I don't think that they're constructed enough to beat a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Denver Nuggets at said time when the Nuggets were still in the playoff hunt. I do think they match up well for the Dallas Mavericks, but overall, I picked the Celtics to win this series because just more manpower, better stars, and overall, as soon as they get Kristaps Porzingis back, I believe that will be a mismatch between him and Miles Turner offensively. The Pacers had to win this game. They had to steal this game, and they had it in the bag. And they did what young teams do under pressure in their biggest moments, in the brightest lights, when everyone is paying attention. They fumbled it away. They were a product. They were a product of basically their own success. They got to a moment in which it was just too big for them. They couldn't make it out. They couldn't figure it out. And two big turnovers with 30 seconds left and not fouling when you're up 3 points, after we've seen it haunt other teams over and over again in this playoffs, continuously following that mantra was just a massive mistake by Rick Carlisle, not making sure his team fouls and making sure the Boston Celtics have to actually earn that win and have to make the Indiana Pacers miss free throws to get back in this game. So just abysmal effort by the Indiana Pacers late. Completely choked the game away. I cannot say I'm surprised. This is a young team, a mostly younger team, with guys like Tyrese Halliburton and Nembhard, and just guys on this team that haven't been in this moment before, whether it's Naismith or Nembhard or Tyrese Halliburton. And sorry, I have these stats literally up right in front of me, so I'm looking at them as well as reacting to it on the fly. That's why we call it Benstant reaction. Here's what I will say. I was really impressed with the way Tyrese Halliburton conducted himself in this game. He was very efficient. I guess I shouldn't say he was very efficient. He was efficient enough with having a guy like Drew Holiday on him. Big time shots, 6 made threes, did attempt 14 of them, 25 points, and in overtime was making big shots. But ultimately, it's what the story is going to be of this series. The Pacers are just a little bit outmanned when it comes to stars and when it comes to playmakers and when it comes to bucket getters. The Boston Celtics have that. The Indiana Pacers don't. Checkmate. But it doesn't really matter because this is what you would call playing with house money if you're the Pacers. You didn't expect to be here. You're ahead of schedule. So for the Pacers, it's no reason to hang your head or be upset. Sure, you want to win, but you're ahead of schedule at this point. The Boston Celtics had to win this game. You have way less to lose than the Boston Celtics. And now, move it over to the Boston Celtics point of view. This is the second storyline. And here's what I want to harp on. That was probably Jayson Tatum's best game that I've seen him play in this playoffs. Not even. That was Jayson Tatum's best game in the playoffs. Big time shots. Would have liked him to hit some of those shots earlier. And Jaylen Brown, both things can be true in this game. Both things can be true. Jaylen Brown is the reason why the Boston Celtics and Jayson Tatum were in a position to win that game, and Jayson Tatum sees the opportunity with a big-time three and a big-time and one with a stupid foul by the Indiana Pacers, and that's the reason they won this game. Credit to Jayson Tatum, who played well. But the reason why the Boston Celtics and the reason why Jayson Tatum was in a spot to put that game away in overtime against the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Finals Game 1 was because Jaylen Brown put them there. And the Boston Celtics escaped with a win in this game, in a game they should have lost. And going forward, Jaylen Brown cannot be the reason if this team wants to win a title. He cannot be the reason why this team is winning games. He just can't be. Jaylen Brown has to be the number 2 on this team if they want to win a championship. Now, can they get away with it every other couple of nights? Can Jaylen Brown make a big shot and Jayson Tatum close it for them in overtime? Of course. But both things can be true. Jaylen Brown was the reason the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown was the reason Jayson Tatum had a chance to win that game and to close that game against the Indiana Pacers in Game 1. And Jayson Tatum sees the opportunity. My issue with Jayson Tatum has never been that he's a bad player, has never been that he's a mediocre player, has never been that he's massively overrated. I've never thought that with Jayson Tatum. I've never thought he was massively overrated. My only criticism of Jayson Tatum is that he can be too freaking passive at times. And you saw that last night, or I should say, you saw that tonight against the Pacers. Just a little too passive in the biggest moments, missed a couple of key shots late, but because of Jaylen Brown's heroics to end the game in which he played masterful tonight, Jayson Tatum was able to redeem himself and capitalize. And credit to Jayson Tatum. That's what you have to do if you are on the cusp and want to make skeptics like me believe that you are indeed a superstar, that you are indeed a top 6 player in the NBA. And although the Boston Celtics got away with it against the Pacers in Game 1, Jaylen Brown cannot be the reason the Boston Celtics are being put in positions to win games. Jayson Tatum has to be the best player on this team if the Boston Celtics are going to win a championship. Jayson Tatum has to be the reason why the Boston Celtics are in positions to succeed and in positions to win playoff games if this team wants to win a championship. It cannot be Jaylen Brown. And in Game 1, it is not debatable. The reason why Jayson Tatum was in a position he was to win the game last night was because Jaylen Brown pulled a trick out of his bag, out of his you-know-what, hit a big-time 3, and sent that game into overtime. And credit to Jayson Tatum for seizing the opportunity to put that game away last night. But if the Boston Celtics want to win a championship, Jayson Tatum has to be that guy consistently. Credit to him that he made the big shot. But if he wants to shut doubters like myself up, and doubters like myself who don't believe that he can lead you to an NBA championship, he has to be the reason why the Boston Celtics win an NBA Finals. It can't be Jaylen Brown. He's not skilled enough like Jayson Tatum, but he is more aggressive than Jayson Tatum. And I don't like that. Credit to the Boston Celtics. This series is over. If the Pacers wanted a chance to win this series, they had to steal Game 1, and they vomited all over themselves when it mattered most. Credit to Jaylen Brown. Credit to Jayson Tatum. And if this series goes longer than what I expect, cool. And again, for the Indiana Pacers, you're just kind of happy to be here. So, good for the Boston Celtics. Good for the city of Boston. We will all see them in the NBA Finals. It won't be shocking to me. I won't change my prediction. I'll still take the Celtics in 6 games. But overall, hopefully, it will continue to be a very entertaining Eastern Conference Finals.